Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 78 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, and Viksit Bharat at 2047. As part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are celebrating World Arthritis Day on October 12. This day is designated to raise global awareness about the plurality of arthritis. Doctors and well-wishers try to raise awareness through activities and awareness campaigns. Discussions are held regarding the symptoms connected to arthritis and the importance of early diagnosis. Patients are also told of the ways to gain access to proper medical treatment. Among the different types of arthritis are ankylosing spondylitis, gout, lupus, osteoarthritis, and rheumatoid arthritis. With timely medical intervention, patients can lead to a comfortable life. So, World Arthritis was brought about by the Arthritis Foundation. Arthritis is derived from the Greek words ortho, meaning joint, and itis, meaning inflammation. Arthritis is a condition involving inflammation of the joints. It can affect any living thing that has bones. Evidence shows that ankle arthritis were present in the dinosaurs, and it has been present in humans for at least as far back as 4,500 BC. In fact, it was one of the most common afflictions of prehistoric people. It was first thoroughly examined and classified in William's Musgrave work, De Arthritis Symptomatica, written in 1975. So, for conditions such as rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis, there is no cure. Along with regular exercise and weight reduction, can suppress the effects. And there is, of course, a pharmaceutical aid that focuses on reducing the pain of the condition rather than seeking to remove it. Physical therapy also helps. For a person suffering from arthritis, movement becomes difficult, yet they must exercise, keep their joints mobile to reduce inflammation, which has shown marked improvements from the long-term relief of the pain associated with. And many associate arthritis with the elderly and the health concerns that affect them. This is mostly correct as the statistical evidence shows that over 65% are in fact the primary sufferers, but 30% of all sufferers are under the age of 65, with some of them being teenagers and though rarely infants. Walking is a good therapy for arthritis. It helps in weight loss, injury, abnormal metabolism, genetic makeup, infections, and immune system dysfunction are common causes of arthritis. Treatment involves medication, physical therapies, patient education, and support. You can reduce the risk of getting arthritis by maintaining a healthy weight, controlling your blood sugar, exercising, stretching, and avoiding injury. Although arthritis is entirely preventable, it can be controlled with regular exercise and proper diet. On World Arthritis Day, resolve to take care of your health. You can also head over to the Arthritis Foundation website and take care to test find out if you are at risk of arthritis. This will get you early treatment and preparation. The venom left from a bee sting may reduce the signs and symptoms of the rheumatoid arthritis. Any creation with bones is at risk of suffering from arthritis. Young adults with injuries are 6 times more likely to develop arthritis, osteoarthritis. Juvenile rheumatoid arthritis is most common type of arthritis among children. Contrary to popular belief, a warmer climate does not relieve arthritis. The main focus of World Arthritis Day is to raise awareness of the disease. Increased awareness means more people are able to recognize their condition and avail themselves of treatment. World Arthritis Day is also an opportunity for patients, families, and caregivers to come together and share their experiences. This creates a sense of belonging. Research on New Testament treatments and medicines for arthritis is always ongoing, and the day celebrates arthritis patients and medical science progress towards defeating the disease. Today is also commemorated as Uruguay Day of Cultural Diversity, Day of the Races in Uruguay, which is an yearly occurrence on October 12th. It honors the contrary indigenous people and celebrates Latin American heritage and historical richness. It is an alternative. Take Columbia Day or Columbus Day. While one celebrates the discovery of New World, the other seeks to reflect on what the transition from pre-Hispanic times to the modern era has meant for autochthonous groups, shining on a light on how wild the Spanish-speaking world grew. Indigenous cultures virtually disappeared. The Day of Cultural Diversity aims to review history and give a voice of untold stories. While most of the world celebration Columbus Day on October 12th, Uruguay is among the many countries that have different approach to it. Centuries ago, Columbus first set foot in Americas and ushered in a new era of trade and exploration. Spanish and European contributions to the New World were undoubtedly significant, but we also remember that there's always a flip side. The arrival of Columbus has different meaning to indigenous people as millions of their ancestors suffered undignified conditions, being exposed to the new diseases, forced labor, and prosecution. Like many South and Central American countries, Uruguay celebrates the Day of Cultural Diversity instead of Columbus Day. The day marks the beginning of indigenous resistance in Latin America on October 12, 1492, an ongoing fight in many regions. The day was originally known as Dia de la Raza or Day of the Race, but over the years, the term has been discontinued as many Latin Americans believe its roots are with colonial times and do not reflect the true nature of the date. Thus, a handful of countries have changed its name, like Venezuela, where it is called Dia de la Resistica Indigena, or Day of Indigenous Resistance, highlighting the struggles and honoring native groups. Today, it's a time we look back and think critically about the many issues this day shines a light on. Today is also commemorated as National Vermont Day, which is celebrated on October 12th. This day honors the state's rich culture through fun and educational activities. Vermont was one of the first states to legally establish the practice of slavery and gain independence from European settlement. The state's historic value is immeasurable and should be brought to the forefront. The day encourages us to learn some of the local tradition in celebrating this day, from museum tours and nature exploration to looking delicious desserts with Vermont's maple syrup. Fun and learning go on hand in hand, celebrating this day with your friends and family. So the history of National Vermont Day goes back to 179, 1791, when it was officially became the 14th state to join the US. It also became the first state to join the Union after the original 13 states. So this was a pinnacle in the history of Great Mountain States after it was subjected to British and French rule for many years. After its admission to the Union, Vermont has continuously made strides. It became one of the first states to officially ban slavery on November 25th, 1858, the Act to Secure Freedom to All Persons Within. The state was signed 3 years before the American Civil War, where Montes provided food and shelter to escaped slaves along with the Underground Railroad. Vermonters are also known for their resilience. Despite being a newly formed state, they sent soldiers to participate in the Civil War and continuously stood a firm ground against slavery. So National Vermont Day gives a chance to Vermonters to not only celebrate the memorable day of their independence, but also to pass down the historic value of their state to the younger generation, honoring the brave men and women who contributed to making Vermont the state as it is today. Today is also commemorated as National Savings Day in US. Our relationship with money is so important that it affects almost every decision we make. It gives you little time to think about your savings and spending habits and what you can do to improve. If you are not saving quite enough, doesn't have to be painful. There are a lot of easier ways to save in order to bring the days within reach. Today is also commemorated as National Gumbo Day in US. It's a time to appreciate the heavily seasoned savory state dish of Louisiana. Gumbo is a perfect bit of indulgence any day, anywhere. Gumbo typically consists of strongly flavored stock with seasoned vegetables. It is also available in other versions too. Today is also commemorated as National Free Thought Day in US, which is celebrated on October 12th every year. It is an irony that it has taken so long for us to celebrate and raise awareness about something as basic as independent thinking. Every free and democratic citizen must be allowed to enjoy the freedom of political, educational, and scientific thinking. Yet humans have always been cynical about unique or independent thinkers. Famous persons such as Einstein, Newton, Da Vinci, Galileo, Jesus, and many others are ostracized, penalized, and even executed because the majority did not agree with their thinking. So National Free Thought Day cultivates an environment of understanding and freedom. Today is also commemorated as Mexico Day of the Pluricultural Nation in Mexico. Day of the Pluricultural Nation in Mexico is celebrated on October 12th. is locally known as Dia de la Raza, the Day of the Races, and is celebrated across Mexico to mark the official recognition of the indigenous people of the country. The day also illuminates the multicultural, multilingual, and multi-ethnic culture of the country. The idea behind the day was brought into existence by the Mexican Senate to motivate the promotion and recognition of various cultures that coexist in Mexico. Today is also commemorated as Indigenous Resistance Day in Venezuela, celebrated every October 12th to honor the heroes of anti-Spanish resistance and appreciate Venezuela indigenous cultures and history. Norse were the first to step foot in the Americas and establish a settlement. Venezuela, officially known as the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, is a country of the northern coast of South America. It consists of 23 states, including the capital district and the federal dependence covering Venezuela offshore islands. Indigenous Resistance Day in Venezuela was previously Dia de la Raza, Day of the Race, which is synonymously with Columbus Day, but the day didn't sit well with the locals and was changed to later in 2022. Today is also commemorated as Indigenous Resistance Day in Venezuela, that seeks to shine a light on after times overlooks angle of history. Since 2002, Venezuela has been broken into traditional celebrations associated with October 12th, known in the US as Columbus Day. Today is also commemorated as Hoshana Rabat. This express purpose of Hoshana Rabbah, the seventh day of Jewish holiday of Sukkot, the 21st day of the month of Tishrei, is rejoicing its roots in celebration of thanksgiving for a bountiful harvest. Always the seventh day of Sukkot, it reminds the observant Jews that just as when they wandered in the wilderness more than 2000 years ago, God is their source of protection and determines what the new year will bring. Sukkot, a Hebrew word for booths or huts, is the seventh Jewish festival of Thanksgiving. During this time, observant Jews construct a temporary structure or sukkah in their yards or on their balconies. If they have access to the outdoors, to symbolize the way the ancient Hebrews lived during the 40 years, Moses led them through the wilderness to the promised land. They eat, entertain, even sleep in the sukkah if the climate makes that possible. There are specific customs to observe every day except the Sabbath requires taking the four kids, a citron or etron, a branch of date palm tree, two willow branches, and three metal branches bound together. Branches are lulav on Hoshana Rabbah. A third willow branch is added. The tradition of four kinds involves turning to the north, south, east, and west, and shaking off, waving the lulav in one hand and etron in the other, up and down, while reciting specific prayers. The positions of the hands on the lulav are prescribed, and after each wave, the observant should bring it back to touch the chest over the heart. Today is also commemorated as Hispanic Day in Spain to mark Christopher Columbus' first landfall in America. Columbus was seeking a direct route of Asia when he discovered the Americas. Hispanic Day, also known as Vista Nacional de Epsana or Dia de la Hispanidad, which is an official day in most Hispanic America under different names. All government administrative buildings and offices, banks and stores are closed for the day. The day shines a light on Spanish identity and heritage, the bond between the old European country and Spanish speaking Latin America. Today is also commemorated as Harry Potter Book Day in US to celebrate and allow fans to immerse themselves in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. It was originally held during the first weeks of February, but the creations wanted to find the date that worked for as many countries as possible. The Octobers were chosen. Every year at this time, we reflect on how magical world has brought joy to the lives of its admirers, from seasoned fans who can recite the spells word for word to new young wizards and witches who are experiencing the world for the first time. This magical day is an amazing time to cater to the imagination of readers and fans of all ages, to indulge in some of Hogwarts staples, such as dressing up in your favorites of the four houses, enjoying a game of Quidditch, and showing off your magical creature or pet. This exciting day brings some of the most memorable moments from the reality of life. So today is also commemorated as Farmers' Day, which is celebrated every year on October 12th. The profession of farming began around 12,000 years ago with the domestication of livestock as hunter gatherers settled down and started to plant their own food. In short, farming is one of the oldest jobs around. Let's take a moment to give some love to all the farmers who work tirelessly to feed us year around. So Farmers' Day in the US is observed on October 12th every year. Other countries celebrate this day on different days, with India and Pakistan holding large celebrations in December and January. Agriculture is one of the world's oldest and vital professions. Farmers have remained one of the highest contributors to economic growth while consistently feeding the people who rely on their goods. Originally referred to as Old Farmers' Day, National Farmers' Day was cultivated to celebrate the hard work farmers put into growing their crops. The day of October 12th came about as lands at the end of the tradition harvesting period, allowing farmers to participate in festivities with sometimes the last entire of month. Additionally, every 3 years, the harvest monsoon will fall in every early October, preceding the leading to the National Farmers' Day on 17th. Today is also commemorated as Equatorial Guinea Independence Day. On October 12th, this day marks the day of which Equatorial Guinea gained independence from Spain in 1968. The country is located in West Central Africa and divided into one major landmass of the continent of Africa, islands due to Spain's centuries-long domination of the country. The national language is still Spanish. Country does not have over 18 states recognized languages, including English, French, Portuguese, Hindi, Combo, Susu, Gujarati, Bubi, Giana, Arabic, Nasbi, etc. Today is also commemorated as Day of Respect for Cultural Diversity in Argentina. The Day of Respect for Cultural Identity takes place every year on October 12th in Argentina. The day revisits the day Christopher Columbus arrived in the Americas and sparks a conversation around diversity and the importance of indigenous communities. It was first observed in 1914 and born as a feast of the race, but later on changed names to feature autochthonous groups in the forefront. Originally intended to commemorate the Hispanic influence on the America, the day since has expanded to all cultures. Today is also commemorated as Anti-Poverty Week in Australia from October 12 to 18. Australians observe Anti-Poverty Week during the week which falls around October 17. Here it takes place from October 12 to 18. This week observance was introduced to critically analyze the problem of poverty in Australia and how to reduce eradicate it. It bolsters the UN observance of International Day for Eradication of Poverty held yearly on October 17. Recent research shows that around 14% of Australia's total population has been living in poverty, and this percentage hasn't shown signs of plummet. Anti-Poverty Week aims to devise ways by which to shrink poverty levels in the country. So we have other commemorations from yesterday, which were World Migratory Bird Day 2025 with the theme Shared Spaces, Creating Bird-Friendly Cities and Communities. The theme for this year, through the activities being undertaken of these three flyways, which are America's Flyway, Africa and Eurasian Flyway, East Asian, Austrasian Flyway, and resulting exchange of information, World Migratory Bird, which is celebrated 2 times a year, that is 10th May and 11th October every year, wishes to increase the level of awareness about the threats, both general and specific, that birds are facing by comparing their experiences and concerns, sharing their stories and activities. People around the world will make their voices and actions reach out even further toward the flyways, underlying the fact that bird conservation is indeed a global issue. So why we need to, have concern on migratory birds? Avian migration is a natural miracle. Migratory birds fly hundreds and thousands of kilometers to find the best ecological conditions and habitats for feeding, breeding, and raising their young. When conditions at breeding sites become unfavorable, it is time to fly to region where conditions are better. There are many different migration patterns. The majority of birds migrate from northern breeding areas to southern wintering grounds. However, some birds breed in southern parts of Africa and migrate to northern wintering grounds or horizontally to enjoy the milder coastal climates in winter. Other birds reside on lowlands during the winter months and move up mountain for the summer. So migratory birds have the perfect morphology and physiology to fly fast and across long distances. Often their journey is an exhausting one during which they go to their limits. The red knot has one of the longest total migration routes of any bird, traveling up to 16,000 kilometers twice a year. Imagine, twice a year they are traveling 16,000 kilometers, and it breeds in Siberia and overwinters to the west coast of Africa, some even going down to tip of South Africa. It is truly amazing how migratory birds can navigate with pinpoint accuracy. They don't have any technology, GPS, satellites, nothing, but they are traveling from continent to continent, and that too 16,000 kilometers, two times a year. Just imagine exactly how migratory, birds find their flyways is not fully understood. It's beyond the science. It has shown that they are able to orientate by the sun during the day and by the stars at night. See how our ancient sages were able to predict astronomy by looking at the sky, stars, sun, moon. Ancient science where today even modern science cannot, you know, go beyond its infancy stage. Still, many things are yet to be, discovered or have to be explained. But see the ancient sciences, how in earlier before humans, how even humans say they are very intellectual, but still they did not evolve to that extent. How animals are able to, understand, and how our ancient sciences sages are able to predict everything beyond the modern science. So it is truly amazing how migratory birds can navigate with pinpoint accuracy. Exactly how migratory birds find their flyways, and it has shown that they are able to orientate by the sun during the day and by stars at the night and by the geomagnetic field at any time. And some species can even detect polarized light, which many migratory birds may use for navigation at night. See, wonderful technology. Migration is a perilous journey and involves a wide range of threats, often caused by human activities. See how humans have become deterrent to so many things on the planet. And as diverse as people and their habitats in different countries are, so are threats the birds face. As migratory birds depend on a range of sites along their distribution area, the loss of wintering and stopover sites could have a dramatic impact on the bird's chances of survival. Flying long distances involve crossing many borders between countries with differing environmental, politics, legislation, and conservation measures. It is evident that international cooperation among governments, NGOs, and other stakeholders is required along the entire flyway of a species in order to share knowledge and to coordinate conservation efforts. The legal framework and coordinating instrument necessary for such coordination is provided by multilateral environmental agreements such as CMS and AEWA. World Migratory Bird Day has a global outreach and is an effective tool to help raise global awareness of the threats faced by migratory birds, by their ecological importance, and the need for individual cooperation to conserve them. October 11th is also commemorated as International Day of the Girl Child. The girl I am, the change I lead. 133 million girls are out of school today. Adolescent girls aged 15 to 19 are more likely to not be in education, employment, or training than their male peers. Around 4 in 10 adolescent girls and young women do not finish their upper secondary school. Nearly 1 in 4 ever married or partnered adolescent girls aged 15 to 19 have experienced intimate partner violence in their lifetime. More than one third of the adolescent girls and boys aged 15 to 19 consider a husband to be justified in hitting his wife under certain circumstances. The percentage of underweight adolescent girls aged 10 to 19 has only declined slightly in the last 3 decades from 10% to 8%. With only 5 years remaining of 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, no country with the data has even met half of the 16 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs targets crucial to adolescent girls' well-being. So shaped through consultations with girls' organization, the UN partners, and most importantly, girls themselves, the 2025 International Day of the Girls theme is the girl I am, the change I lead, girls on the front lines of crisis. All around the world, girls are stepping up to meet today's biggest challenges. They are organizing in their communities, fighting for the climate justice, demanding an end to violence, and reimagining their future. Girls are asking to be seen not only to the challenge they face, but for who they are and the solutions are they bring. Yet too often their voices go unheard, their actions ignored, their needs to be and rights to be pushed aside. As we mark 30 years since the Beijing Declaration, the world's blueprint for gender equality, International Day of Girl, is a rallying cry to see the girls for who they truly are and to listen to them voices to recognize their limitless potential. For girls aren't waiting for a better world, they are building it. So, call to action on this International Day stand with girls and support their leadership, and your voice matters too. Share girls' stories, celebrate their achievements, and amplify their voices. Advocate for change, call for the policies that protect girls' rights and enable their leadership now and the future. Create girls-led spaces wherever you have influence, support space, safe spaces where the girls can connect, learn, and get the support they need. Lend your voice, call for dedicated funding and programs that meet the unique needs of girls in crisis situations, and including health education, mental well-being, and support for adults and mothers. When we invest in girls, we create a more equal, just, and hopeful world for everyone. So 30 years after the Beijing Platform for Action, girls have made strides in education, health, and rights, but many inequalities remain. Marginalized girls still face barriers that limit their potential. Greater investment, breaking down obstacles, and empowering girls to lead are essential to ensure every girl can thrive. Girl goals, what has changed for girls, adolescent girls' rights over 30 years. A report for UNICEF, UN Women, and Plain International examines progress and ongoing challenges for girls worldwide. In 1995, the World Conference on Women in Beijing countries unanimously adopted the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, the most progressive blueprint ever for advancing the rights of not only women but girls. The Beijing Declaration is the first to specify call out girls' rights on December 19, 2011. United Nations General Assembly Adoptional Resolution 66 by 170 to declare October 11th as the International Day of the Girl Child to recognize girls' rights and the unique challenges girls face around the world. Girls are breaking boundaries and barriers posed by stereotypes and exclusion, including those directed at the children and disabilities and those living in marginalized communities as entrepreneurs, innovators, and institutions and global movements. Girls are creating a world that is relevant for them and future generations. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its Sustainable Development Goals. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) adopted by the world leaders in 2015 and embody a roadmap for progress and is sustainable and leaves no one behind. Achieving gender equality and the women's empowerment is integral to each of these 17 goals. Only by ensuring the rights of women and girls across the goals, we will get to justice and inclusion, economies that work for all and sustaining our shared environment now and future generations. So, with this, we shall conclude today's commemorations. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in these commemorations and celebrations. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form before leaving the platform. So, see you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. Take care. Good night.